Hello and welcome to Michael's One Stitch at a Time podcast. The reason for the name of the podcast is I am actually starting a knitting for hire company, and I figured I wanted to do a podcast for a long time, and so I thought, why not start with and create that to be the name. Hang on one second, I probably should have turned on the lights before doing this. So, it's going to be generally like everyone else's podcast in that I will show you what I'm working on, what I have finished, and then talk about some stuff. About me, I've been knitting for about 3 years, so I'd say an advanced knitter. I wouldn't say expert. I've never done a sweater. I generally do accessories, socks, mittens, hats, blankets, baby blankets mainly. One of my finished objects is like a lap blanket, or a blanket for one person if you have it long ways. I designed it, so you'll kind of see that. So, but we'll go into that when we get there. So I'll kind of do finished objects, what I'm working on. I don't spin. I don't think I ever will. Of course, I said I'd never do socks, and I said I'd never do color work, which I love doing both of those, so you never know. I'll mention my knitting for hire if I get a job ever. This is going to be distracting because I'm going to be playing with my hair. It's in the morning. I work part-time at retail, and I work at 5, and I just did all my laundry. Now I don't want to put it away, so I'm procrastinating by making this podcast. So I haven't really showered yet because my clothes that I need for work have just come out of the dryer, so my hair is kind of still gelled from last night and gross looking. So I generally look better than this, but it's what you get because I'm doing this on the fly. I am a graduate student getting my master's in counseling, so I'll probably talk psych talk a little bit, which I think will be an interesting component because I don't think any other podcasters are in the counseling and psychology field. So I'll probably mention that, what I'm doing there. There are going to be weeks where it's a little lighter in the knitting, or I may not podcast at all because I'll have finals or midterms or 8 million projects. This summer is going to be a huge knitting time because I won't have school and my internship will start in the end of July, so I'll have a lot of knitting time. And hopefully a new job, which will start off with less hours, so I will have a lot of time on my hands, which means I will be making a lot of things, which is the other component of why I wanted to do this knitting for hire. Because then a few extra dollars come into my pocket. I will try not to cuss, so I'll try to keep it PG, but I can't. I come from Irish Catholic family, so you kind of have that mouth, a lot of the GDs and JCs, because those Irish Catholics, they love to be Catholic and use the Lord's name in vain. I don't know. But I want to keep it PC, and I'm generally not having a conversation with my friends on here. It's just me talking to myself, so I don't think I will be swearing like a sailor on leave. But I hope you guys kind of enjoy this. My humor, sarcastic, bantery, I guess you'd say. So let's get started with some finished objects, and we will start with the one finished object I have that's completely finished. I have a hoe and a finished object. So this is the lap blanket. It's hard to see, it's long, but it's a lap blanket, and I don't know if you'll be able to see the cable with the camera, but it's kind of, I don't know if you can see that. I don't have the best camera. I'm using my camera on my computer. I'm hoping that shows up. Guessing with the lighting it won't. but it's kind of like that, and it kind of like, then it goes into, so it's kind of like I'm still getting used to figuring out which direction's which. So it kind of goes like that, and then it goes like that again. And I did it out of Karen's 1 pound. God, I don't even know the colorway of it. It's like a blue. It's a blue. And when I first started knitting, I thought I would do a blanket. So I bought that Lion Brand, like, something, and after like 8 skeins, because it's like 120 per skein, and I didn't realize that, and it was it was my first time knitting. There were like dropped stitch sections. There was like, at one point there's like a yarn that just goes like from here to here in the blanket, just right, you're like, what is this? I don't even know. I spilled pasta on it. I was like, this is going in the garbage. And I'm like, I have to do a blanket. I just have to. So this blanket has taken 2 years to make. 2 years. And it was going to be longer. I mean, it's a pound and probably like 1.5, maybe even more skeins of the pound. So it's about 1.5 pounds of yarn. I did it on Addi Turbo, or no, just Addi Turbo? I think Addi Turbo, size 8, 32-inch circular needles. And I think that's what saved me and kept me doing this, because I hated this. I got the pattern from this book that was in my car. It's in my car now because it's completely trash. It's a book of different cable patterns. I love cabling. And so I decided to make my own blanket. I didn't know what I was doing. There's probably like 300 stitches on this. So that's why it took so long. And I was like, oh, I'll do the pattern and then I'll do stockinette, like, sections. Same equal stitch length of the pattern. Except I didn't think about the fact that I'd be purling 300 something stitches every other row. Yeah. That kind of sucked. I'm okay with purling, which brings, you'll see with one of my projects I'm working on now that I just cast on today. But purling 300 stitches on a cable that's too small, because I just was like, this is a long cable, I'll go with it. I had it on Chai-Goo's at first, and the Chai-Goo's kept breaking, which Chai-Goo lace, which a pound of worsted on lace holding needles, the cable's gonna break. And I was like, why is the cable keep breaking? And he was like, because that's for lace weight, and that's definitely not lace weight, so you're gonna want these Addi Turbos. And I was like, bam, in my bank account. I was like, oh, that's expensive. these Chai-Goo lace were only 8, and these are like 20. So it was kind of annoying because I spent like probably $36 on just needles to make this blanket. Because I didn't know what I was doing. And so I first made it for my sister's apartment when they were in college, when they graduated last year. And it's basically spring when they graduate 2 years later. And so now it's for me and my boyfriend. Either we can have it on our laps, or one of us, if we just want it, can take it long ways and wrap in it, and it will cover our feet and stuff. So it's kind of multi-purpose. The only section I messed up on was, and you probably can't even see it because you can't even see watch this part, you can see. I don't know if you can see it, probably not. I'll just hold it for a second. If you can, there's a part where I was supposed to purl and decided to knit, so it created a ridge just in one little section. So I kind of messed up there. I'm going to take photos of these and add it to, I'm making a Facebook section for my Knit for Hire, and I'm going to just strategically like hide this, like have this wrapped around me and reading a book or something, and have that part just at the bottom, or covered or something. So, because normally I'd rip out, but I noticed it like 3 inches in, and I hated this pattern, and I was like, screw it, it's for me. It's because they've graduated, so I'm just gonna go with it. So that's that. That's my finished object. I have a hoe. I am a huge sock knitter. So this is out of Peyton's yarn in Corey socks in the, I don't think it has a name, it's just a number, I think. Color 55048. It kind of reminds me of the Sock Monkey. And I was making them for myself, and my boyfriend was watching me knit them, and he's like, those are cool. I wish you'd knit me, because I knit him a pair of socks. He's like, I wish for another pair. I'm like, do you want these? He's like, yeah, sure. I'm like, okay. So, for all you new knitters out there who's starting socks, and you love them, you love knitting socks, so you're like, I'll knit socks till kingdom come. And I'll have them all for myself. Don't make them for other people, because then everyone wants socks. And all your socks will become their socks. I mean, my sister has 2 pairs of socks. I have made multiple pairs for myself, but they've worn out or something, or shrunk because I decided to stick them in the dryer because I'm an idiot. And so she has more socks than I do, and I knit them. So everyone has more socks than I do. My sister, actually, one of the whips is a pair of socks, because I bought her another Peyton's, I didn't know she'd like it, Peyton's Corey sock in the Bramble Stripes. Oh, maybe this does have a name, because this one's called Bramble Stripes. This is called Gray Brown Marl. The ones that I made with my boyfriend. But these are the Bramble, and it's like purples and green. Oh my god, my yarn is attacking. Well, yarn likes to mate if you put it. I have them on some double points. Size 3 is what I do, like DK or Sport. I do them on size 3. She likes ankle socks, so I have like a 2.5 inch cuff. But I can't find my pattern, so I don't know how to do the heels. So they're kind of like in hibernation until I find the pattern, because I don't know where I put the pattern. So, yeah, that's that. Another project I'm working on, which I sit down and I'm an idiot for doing it because it's in black, and it's Deborah Norville's Every Day, I think, right? Yeah, Every Day in black, or some fingerless mitts. I do have that as a hoe. Hang on, I'll go get it. See, I'm all over the place because I forgot I have another finished object that I'm giving someone. So it's the cigar gloves. They look terrible because they're not blocked. And pinky, I'm an idiot. They're for me for at work, because I would. This will make them look better, less ugly. Because I'm an idiot and got off on the wood finger I was on. I forgot that it's not a 4 or a. It's 5 fingers, not 4, because I had another pattern I was doing for the homeless that were 4. So I thought that this one was the pinky, when really it wasn't. It was the ring finger. So something like that. Or no, I did, yeah. So I thought this was the pinky. So I did what you do is like cast off for the pinky, or like do the pinky finger. So I did the amount of stitches for the pinky finger, and then I was like, oh, I have this hole. I'm like, that's the ring finger, not the pinky. So now it juts out because I have way too many stitches. And then I was like, you know what, whatever, it's for me at work. So this size is off, kind of, because it's They just look terrible. But I don't care. Because they're for me. And it's just a basic fingerless mitt, which I love fingerless mitts. Love them. So it's a free nitty pattern. It's like cigar. And my sisters used to smoke and they were looking for fingerless mitts, so I was looking at fingerless mitts, and this one was for a smoker. Like, her husband smoked, obviously, cigars, and so she got him these gloves for when he was smoking. And normally what you do is you knit up pinky and the ring, because you don't need those when you're, I'm guessing, I don't know, smoking. So you have these bare, and then these are covered. And I just, like, I'm not going to measure up to my pinky. I like them like this, so I'm going to do this, even though I messed up on the pinky. So it would look better. I had a test pair, and it looked good. But I gave them to the homeless. I did, in December, I spent all of my break, Thanksgiving and winter break, knitting for the homeless. I didn't knit for myself. I did Christmas knitting and knitting for the homeless. So I made like a scarf, 2 pairs of fingerless mitts, a hat, and something else. And it was all for the homeless. So I have that for me. So I have another hoe. Then the lady who gave me all this Deborah Norville every day, which I was using because I wouldn't use for, I'm not gonna, I like it for like hats. Oh, another finished object from a while ago. For instance, I did this, which I will put on. My sister says it looks terrible on me. It's a cabled pattern. I forget what it's called, so you can see the cables now. But it's just like a hat, and I got it for work because you have to have blue. It has to be like company approved colors. And so it looks dorky on me because I'm more of a Watchman hat than a like flimsy hat. But it's just a cabled pattern. It was easy. Use a ball of yarn. Just trying to get rid of it because I had so much yarn. I'm someone who buys for projects. I don't stash. I could never do a stash on because I don't have stash, because I buy for, I have to make my sister socks. Buy a skein of yarn. I'm one of those people. I would love to have the money to just have a yarn room with just random yarn and just be like, I want that. So this was something, except I have it backwards, that I think it's called the sarong, and it's a scarf, and like a scarf shawl thing, and you wrap it around and stuff, but it's, I don't know, I don't wear it, it's for girls, but it's like, it was neat because it's one of those, you knit the increases, then you weigh your yarn to see how much you need for the decreases, and then you knit whatever. I just kind of estimated and did a ball, and then was like, well, I have 2 balls of it, so I will just estimate how much I need. So this was, it's kind of got this leaf pattern on the edge. It was really quick, really fast, size 10.5 on worsted, so it flew by. And you had to look at the pattern, kind of, I mean, for the edging, but you could still, like, if you had the pattern near you, could watch TV and be fine as long as you had stitch markers. I am a stitch marker fiend. I always use stitch markers, even when not needed. So that's another finished object that I forgot about. And then I have 2 more projects I'm working on. One's in my car. It's the Dr. Watson scarf from Sherlock Holmes, but I'm using brown instead of gray. I'm using white and then light blue. Another Deborah Norville every day, just because I had a bunch of it from a baby blanket I made my nephew. That's actually upstairs because it got washed because he vomited on it. Spit up. He was a newborn. They did that. So my mom washed it at our house because our washer is a little more gentle. So I had all this extra yarn. So I was like, I'm going to make that scarf. And then the other thing, and I'm in the middle of the row, is I have a bunch of Red Heart Super Saber. I have in pink, yellow, and purple. And I'm making a chevron baby blanket just to use it up. I don't know if I'll give it to my niece, depending on how it feels. If it's really rough and scraggly, I'll probably just donate it to, like, the animal shelter, because, I mean, they can give it to a dog to weigh out or something. I wouldn't say I'm necessarily a yarn snob, as you saw a bunch of it's like Deborah Norville, which was given to me, but generally, I like higher quality yarn. But who doesn't? Like, I'm making another whip of mine, which is buried somewhere, I'm making, because I wanted to do this, I'm making the Rambling Rose out of Malabrigo worsted. That blanket is mine. No one is touching it. No one but me. Possibly Russ. He can, snuggle with it. But if anyone's using Malabrigo worsted, Malabrigo in general is just amazing, but it is amazing. And so I am using just a skein per square. Well, not really. I mean, I'll have a bunch extra, but and so I am making that, and it is so soft, and it's a work in progress. It's going to be one of those, it's going to be a while, because I don't have money for Malabrigo right now, or room to keep buying Malabrigos, so it's on hold until I guess in a way de-stash all the Red Heart and stuff, so, but I'm doing that. I'm doing this chevron blanket. I'm just doing that as, I have the utensils. I gotta get rid of it, because my room's a mess because of the yarn. The yarn kind of, like, takes up my room, because it just gets everywhere, and, like, it tangles with itself, other skeins, or multiplies or something, and it just looks messy. Like, it could be contained. And then over in my closet over there, I have sock yarn, which I have a bunch that was given to me from that lady who gave me the everyday. So I have a bunch of socks to make, which I can make on my own time. Which I love making socks. Right now, I have another hoe. It's in the car. And, no, it's not. Gosh. It was unprepared podcast, but it's the first one. So bear with me. This, I gotta tie in the weave in the end still, is, the pattern is cuffed, or the pattern is cuffed. The cuff is patterned, and then I just did stockinette for the heel. I don't like the colors. I don't like the yarn, but it was free. It was given to me. It's Chicago yarn from Wisdom Yarns, and the color and design where's like, I don't understand. Color is 234. Browns. I don't like the color brown. See? So I was like, if I do a pattern, it'll make it interesting. Well, I've decided that unless my knit for hire person's like, oh, I might try cabled. I don't like lace pattern socks. And I wouldn't do it on the foot because I think that's pointless. Your sock is supposed to keep your foot warm. If you have a bunch of holes in your sock, it's not going to keep your foot warm. So I was like, oh, I'll do something. To branch out and continue to build my knitting repertoire. And then to make it interesting because it's browns. I like a little brown. Like if there were a line or a stripe of brown, I'd be fine with that. But brown, beige, black. Like, I'm a color person. Yeah. and I think all knitters generally are colored people. We need color. Like those gloves, I don't know where I am. They're gonna be ugly because the one pinky is bad, and then I'm in the middle of the increases for the hand, for the thumb gusset, and I don't know where I am, and I don't care. I'm just like, whatever. I'm half tempted to just throw the ball out, throw the gloves out. I just don't care. But then I'm like, that's a waste of yarn, you know. It's like throwing out food, and there are people who are hungry. So, yeah. The thing I was saying about blankets is I made so many freaking blankets. I'm tired of making blankets. But what am I doing? Making another blanket. Chevron blanket. But this is nice because it's color work, so the colors change. Well, I change them. And then there's a pattern to it, so it doesn't get boring. And it's worsted, size 9 needles, so it will keep you it will go fast, hopefully. And then I can get rid of this yarn. It'll be out. I will have more room for more yarn. And yarn that I like. And then, yeah. But that's my plan. So, I mean, I've made this much progress in probably 4 hours. It goes by fast. The pattern's just 2 rows. It's a free pattern on Ravelry. Link you to a link who gives you the free pattern, and it's just 2 rows. And so, yeah, it's 1 stitch a day, or 1 stitch at a time, sorry. Which is the name of my knitting for hire. I had one person who hit me up for a blanket, surprisingly enough, a baby blanket, but they haven't given me the money, so no money, no blanket. I'm not going and buying yarn and on my own time and spending $32 on pink and white yarn that I would not use and to get for him when I don't think he'd pay me. So until I see the money, there is no honey or something. Anyway, so that's the show. I start school 2 Wednesdays from now. It's not this coming Wednesday, but next Wednesday, or the Wednesday after that. And so my knitting will be a little more scarce during those times because I tend not to knit unless I'm really, really stressed, and then I'll do something. But or if I'm like at a friend's house watching TV, because me and my friend, we watch Gilmore Girls like once a week. Gilmore Girls show. I'm super gay. And so I'll bring my knitting over there, or if I'm at my other friends watching a movie, I'll bring my knitting and just knit, because it's addicting, and people don't really understand that to a degree. Like, oh, I need to knit. Like, yes, I need to knit. Or I'll see something that I like on TV that's knitted, and I'm like, I have to knit. I need to know. It's time. Time has come. Oh, hang on. I should just, hang on. Let me take back, and then I'll be at the end of the row, or beginning of the row, and I can show you what this chevron blanket looks like. Without it being half all the stuff. I can do this. Advanced, I can't even take back. Okay. So this is what I have so far. And this is kind of, there's the decreases section, and then so it's gonna kind of, everyone knows what a chevron looks like, but it's gonna be a chevron blanket. It's my thing. So, next class is our substance abuse and clinical techniques. So I basically will be practicing my techniques. So I will probably get like someone from school to be my client or client. They're not patients because they're not like in the hospital. And then I will, yeah. I'm sure there's little vignettes. I don't think I'll be working on someone's real life problems, but creating everything. So I hear it's a very intensive class, so that's why maybe I won't have that much to do. But things I have to do, I have to, like I said, I buy for projects. So I have to buy more. The next yarn I will be buying is for, you'll see in Stash Enhancement next week, is more of the Peytons, because I need, it's a 50-gram ball, so I need another ball for rusted socks. And then another brown for the scarf, because I'm low on that. And that one's like really easy. It's a free pattern too, and you just look up Dr. Watson's scarf. I mean, I love it. I just love the colors and everything. So, but it goes fast because you're changing colors, and even though it's ribbing, which can be annoying, it goes fast. And yeah, so that's that. And this is my show, and I never thought I could knit and talk on a podcast at the same time, like everyone usually stops what they're doing. But since I'm merely rambling about nothing, yeah. And the chevron blanket's pretty easy to knit. Well, the back is all just purling. Yeah, purling. Like I said, I hated purling that one. But actually, oh, needles, I wanted to talk about that. I more or less started out a metal needle theme, and I think it was the whole clinking sound. Like, I thought that was cool. Like, I'm a knitter, and those needles will clink together, and the sound of knitting. And there's something relaxing about the sound, like when you're knitting and you just that little click, click. It's just relaxing. And so I was like, I'd only use metal needle. I wouldn't use wooden. Well, I've decided that I will use wooden for sizes 8 and above. No, 6 and above. 7 woodens are okay. I don't like wooden sock needles because I've tried and they're like knitting with toothpicks. And I'm a tight knitter, and so I'm always afraid I'm gonna like snap them in half, and well, that would be detrimental, and then I have to go buy more. So I like the big ones, big wooden ones, because you can't, I mean, you could break them if you wanted to, but they're not just gonna accidentally break. And, but I like the small metal. I'll do my socks on DPMs. I don't do Magic Loop. I haven't branched out to that yet. I tried it, I think. I said I've never done a sweater. I've tried doing sweaters. I had 2 sweaters that I'm in the middle of. One for me, the needles are bent because they're in the bottom of my yarn, and I have all this. It's like I started a few years ago. I got a bunch of free yarn, and then I am trying to do a sweater for my niece, which I didn't like the pattern, so I have to find a new pattern. But sweaters they still intimidate me. I said I'd never do socks. I do socks by the buttload. I said I'd never do color work. I love Fair Isle. I even had a book, which I'll do a book review maybe next time. I'm Poe, and unless I get sponsors, and I'll be doing this on YouTube, so I doubt they will see me, because Bing Blip is stupid and doesn't accept people anymore or something, and then the other one you have to pay for, and I don't have that kind of money. So it'll be on YouTube for now, and then when I get a chance, I will have one of those, and you will see more of me. So I hope you enjoyed. I will have more for you next week, and then it might dwindle down a little, but I hope you enjoy. Have a good day.